Veterinarians had given up on these two pups and decided to put them to sleep. However, what the two pups did just before being euthanized caught the attention of the vet, and what she did next was unexpected. Dr. Emily Harding arrived at work at the Hope Animal Shelter on a Monday morning after a long and much-needed weekend. That day, she faced the most heartbreaking part of her job. As she walked into her office, she wished fervently that this duty didn't exist in her line of work. Sitting down at her desk, Emily heaved a deep sigh. Her heart was weighed down with sadness at the thought of what she had to do. The shelter's policy was clear. Animals that didn't respond to treatment and were suffering had to be euthanized to prevent further pain and the risk of infecting other healthy animals. It was a necessary measure, but one that tore at her soul every time she had to carry it out. Since Emily had worked as a vet at the animal shelter, euthanasia had been a rare occurrence. She, along with the other staff, made sure they saw every animal as deserving of life, no matter the ailment they faced. They did everything they could to avoid giving up on any of the animals, to the point that euthanasia was the only option when all else failed. But some cases were just too complicated, and despite their best efforts, putting some animals to sleep was the only solution. Now, once again, Emily felt like she had failed in her duty to protect these adorable animals. She had to put two dogs to sleep, as their ailment couldn't be cured, and they weren't responding to treatments. Euthanasia seemed to be the only way to relieve them of their suffering. As her eyes scanned the list, her heart sank when she saw the names of the two puppies, Sam and Max. The thought of putting them to sleep filled her with an overwhelming sense of pity and empathy. Reclining back in her seat, she couldn't help but reminisce about the journey these two pups had been on before they were admitted to the shelter. Sam and Max had a story that touched everyone's heart. They were found wandering the bustling streets of Ho Chi Minh City, two tiny, helpless creatures lost in a world far too big and dangerous for them. Since the day they arrived at the shelter, they had been inseparable, always snuggling close to each other for comfort and warmth. Their compassionate and emotional connection had inspired all the staff at the shelter. Despite the harsh conditions they had faced, Sam and Max found solace in each other's presence. Unfortunately, their health had been deteriorating rapidly. The shelter's veterinarians, including Emily, had done everything within their power, but the situation seemed hopeless. Looking at the list again, Emily felt a lump in her throat. Sam and Max's story began when they were picked up by kind Buddhist nuns near a pagoda. The nuns couldn't bear to see the puppies struggling on the streets, searching for food and coping with harsh weather. The sight of the two pups risking their lives on busy roads while being so sick was too much for them to ignore. Driven by compassion and hope for a miracle, the nuns lured the pups with food and took them to the Hope Animal Shelter. The larger pup, Sam, always held his smaller friend, Max, in his paw. This touching gesture spoke volumes about the traumas the two malnourished pups had faced together. Despite everything, they stuck together, even now that they were being rehabilitated at the shelter. Their bond melted everyone's heart, and their stories spread throughout the shelter. Bracing herself, Emily knew she had to do what was necessary, no matter how much it hurt. With a heavy heart, she entered the kennel where Sam and Max were kept. Nothing could have prepared her for the unexpected discovery that awaited her. Arriving at their kennel, she saw them snuggled together. What shattered her heart to pieces was that Sam and Max had their eyes closed, appearing to be in peaceful resignation. Could it be that the pups had sensed their fate and chosen to accept it? She couldn't shake the feeling that there was something special about these two pups, something that set them apart from the other animals she had encountered in all her years as a vet. Was it their incredible bond, or was it just her emotions playing tricks on her? Suddenly, as if sensing her presence, Sam lifted his head slowly and looked into Emily's eyes. In that brief moment, she saw a spark, a glimmer of hope and determination that took her by surprise. Max, feeling Sam's movement, also stirred and snuggled even closer to him, not wanting to let go. Emily noticed that Max's breathing, which had usually been labored and shallow, a major symptom of his poor health, seemed to stabilize now that he was curled up with Sam. This shocking observation left Emily puzzled for a moment. Still curious, she gently separated the puppies to observe their reactions. That was when the unexpected happened. Moments after she gently separated them, Max began to whimper, and his breathing became troubled, as it usually was. But he had been breathing just fine when he was cuddled up with Sam. Emily thought aloud, struggling to make sense of what was going on. She placed Max back in Sam's embrace, and to her disbelief, his breathing calmed once again. Dr. Emily's mind raced. Could it be possible that Sam was somehow helping Max heal? It didn't really add up. This was unlike anything she had seen in her career as a vet. She decided to conduct a few tests, hoping to find an explanation. Emily carefully monitored their vitals, observing every detail. She took notes, measured breathing rates, and checked for any signs of distress. Her thoughts swirled with possibilities. Could Sam's presence have a calming effect on Max, enough to stabilize his breathing? Or was there a deeper connection between the two that went beyond what they could understand? She knew she had to find out more before making any final decisions about their fate. Their bond was special, and it might hold the key to their survival. Over the next few days, Emily and the staff closely monitored Sam and Max. They found it hard to believe the results, which showed that Sam's presence seemed to have a soothing effect on Max, as if he were providing a form of emotional support beyond mere companionship. The more they observed, the clearer it became that this bond was extraordinary. Inspired by what she saw, Emily delved deeper into research. She discovered studies showing how emotional bonds could significantly impact physical health in animals, much like in humans. However, when the shelter started administering treatments, Sam and Max were kept apart. With this understanding, Emily proposed an unconventional treatment plan, not just for Sam and Max, but also to the shelter's board. The plan involved keeping Sam and Max together and providing them with special medical care that included not only physical treatment but also emotional and psychological support. Initially, the board members of the shelter were skeptical about this approach. However, after witnessing the incredible bond between the two pups, they agreed to give the new method a try. With high hopes, they began the treatment plan. Weeks passed, and the results were nothing short of a miracle. Max's health began to improve significantly. Emily shared their story on her social media pages, posting updates about their journey and their remarkable bond. She was glad she had given them a second chance. The story of Sam and Max began to spread, attracting attention from dog lovers globally. People were touched by the connection between the two puppies and their incredible resilience. What made it even more heartwarming was the donations that started pouring in from true animal lovers who were moved by Sam and Max's story. These contributions ensured that the shelter could continue providing care, not only for Sam and Max, but also for other animals in need. Usually, when visitors came looking for a companion to adopt, they opted for just one. However, in the case of Sam and Max, separating them was not an option. The duo was inseparable, and separating them might leave them in chronic depression, unable to function and interact as they should. With their growing popularity on social media, Emily hoped someone might be moved enough to adopt them both. Then one day, something shocking happened. One evening, while Emily was leaving the shelter after a full day at work, she received a call from a local news station interested in doing a feature on Sam and Max. Excited about the offer, she agreed, hoping that their story would inspire others to look beyond the surface and see the potential for life and love in every creature. Nothing could have prepared Emily for what happened after the interview aired. To their surprise, many people tuned into the station eager to hear more about Sam and Max. The stars of the show, Sam and Max, snuggled together as always during the interview. When the reporter asked Emily what she thought was the main contributing factor that saved the puppies, she smiled and looked at Sam and Max, who were now playfully tugging at a toy. "I think they saved each other," she replied. After the interview aired that night, it was a memorable moment as people from all over tried to connect with Emily and the pups. The unexpected happened when several viewers expressed a desire to adopt Sam and Max. However, those who were interested lived too far away, in different parts of the world. Despite this, the interview garnered financial support from the audience, which in turn saw adoption rates at the shelter double. Many animals found their forever homes thanks to the impact of Sam and Max's incredible bond. Just when it seemed like finding a foster home for Sam and Max might not happen, something unexpected occurred. A few weeks later, a family from the countryside came to the shelter. They immediately recognized Emily from her posts and happily approached her, explaining how they'd seen the story on the news about Sam and Max and had felt an instant connection to the pups. Emily and the other staff were elated and welcomed the family, taking them straight to the kennel to see the pups. Sam and Max, now healthier, interacted happily with the family. This display of joy won the hearts of the family even more. After a thorough vetting process, the family was approved to adopt them. It was a bittersweet moment for Emily and the rest of the staff as they watched the pups leave with their new family, looking happier than ever. Though she knew she'd miss them deeply, the fact that they had a new home where they could be together warmed her heart.